Antara Capital is supposedly trying to initiate a hostile takeover of AMC Entertainment. Let's go over this. Is this true? Is this not? What would a hostile takeover look like? And would this be a bullish thing for AMC? All of your questions will hopefully be answered by the end of the video. Hit the like button in the meantime, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description of this video. It's earnings season, baby, and it is full steam ahead. Plunge Protection Team is out, though. Look at Netflix stock and after hours. Insane. Topic for another video. Let's get into what's going on here. So, the reason I'm making this video, let's just be forthcoming with you guys, is a lot of people are commenting about this. Alboin1617 asked, what do you think about the possibility of a hostile takeover of AMC by Antara Capital? Mace Donlan 673, I'm not sure if I said that right, but talking about the same thing, a potential hostile takeover. And there's been more comments about it as well. If I refresh this, you would see a whole bunch of them. Now, the information that has been getting spread on this today has been public information for a long time. We've read the filings together back in December when this happened, and I think people are maybe some people forgot, right? That's definitely possible when things are this fluid. But I think a lot of people are confused on the whole deal because Antara Capital, well, really AMC, made a deal with Antara Capital that we will sell you shares at the market price. At this time, it was for like 64 cents, 58 cents, somewhere in that range. Very low, lower than where Abe is today. And AMC said, but we'll only do that if you agree to vote yes to the upcoming proposals. And that was what we just voted on March 14th. And that's why I made all of those videos weeks ago, basically trying to make sure that nobody got their expectations and hopes up, because the vote was cooked from the start. I've literally said that probably 25 times. The vote was cooked from the start. It was the deal with Antara Capital they made in December. I don't believe it was actually announced until early January, but the deal was finalized in late December. They cooked it. That's just the truth. Now, hostile takeover. That's interesting. What is a hostile takeover? Well, a hostile takeover, it's happened a bunch of times. Like, this is a very well-practiced thing that happens. Maybe something a lot of you guys could relate to was Twitter and Elon Musk. He was trying to hostilely take over Twitter by acquiring a sizable position to be able to influence the voting power. So that's what a hostile takeover is. Typically, you have to own over 51% of the business, and then you're going to have the top say. So if you own 51% of a business, let's say Antara Capital, and we'll talk about these percentages and everything they own, but if Antara Capital owned 51% of AMC, and they wanted to cancel this vote, they didn't want the reverse split, they could make that happen because they own a majority of the voting power. Even if everyone else voted that they wanted this deal, they wanted AMC to raise capital and do the reverse split, well, if Antara Capital didn't want it, they're a majority shareholder, it would not happen. So basically a hostile takeover has nothing to do with like Antara running the business or doing anything like that directly. It's the voting power, that they would have all of the say, that no matter what anyone else wanted, nothing could get done without Antara Capital being on board. Now, here's the filing. Came out December 22nd, 2022. We're going to save you the liberty of me reading this to you because, I mean, likely nobody wants that. But let's look at the amount of shares that Antara Capital currently owns, because I think that's ultimately important. And then we'll discuss kind of where some of this confusion is coming from. So if we look at Ape, go ahead and refresh this. You are looking at current shares owned of 164,296,087 shares. Antara Capital has actually reduced their position in AMC by about 10%. They used to by like Q1, 182,439,492 shares. Now, Antara Capital bought their whole position for $34 million. They purchased all of these shares for $34 million. And that is in this filing. I could go ahead and pull it up if you guys would like to. I just reread this whole thing because I'm like, is there something I missed? Why is everyone talking about this? So right here on December 22nd, 2022, see if we can blow this up a little bit. On December 22nd, 2022, the reported persons acquired 60 million apes. The initial apes offered under the issuer's at the market program at a price of 58 cents per share for an aggregate purchase price of about $35 million. Now they own more than that because they were also granted a lot of other shares. So it says on December 22nd, 2022, the issuer announced it entered into a forward purchase agreement with Antara Capital, pursuant to which the issuer will, subject to the satisfaction of certain closing conditions, sell to the reported persons 106.5 million apes for an aggregate purchase price of $75.1 million. The forward purchase apes and simultaneously purchase from the reported persons on a private basis 100 million aggregate principal amount of the issuer's 10%, 12% cash Tugel second lien notes due 2026 in exchange for 91 million apes. So basically what happened here is they got 60 million apes for that, right? 60 million apes for the initial purchase price of 58 cents a share. That was just at the market offering. They just bought the shares, is what it is. Now, they also invested $100 million into AMC's 10 to 12% bonds. These are second lien notes due 2026. And they also received 91 million apes for this. So it's like they got a 50% discount on these notes because, $100 million worth of notes. They got 91 million apes. They were trading roughly 50, 60 cents. They got about a 50% deal on these notes. Now, if you add those together, well, you're sitting at about 150 million or about 150 million apes that they own together. Now, they went out, they bought, 10, 20, 30 million more apes. No big deal. Whatever. Well, like I said, they've actually sold some ape stock over the last couple of weeks here, since the end of Q1, it looks like. And what I would imagine, if 182 minus 164, 6, they sold about 26 million ape shares, right? Probably for $1.20, maybe. So you do 26 million times, just call it $1.20, because that's where a lot of their sells and buys were at. And that's about $31 million. That's the initial, essentially, investment they made in the at the market offering with AMC. But they still own 164 million apes. So they basically made their trade pretty much free. Now it's a riskless trade for Antara Capital, but do they have close to 51% of the voting power? No. They have 17.5% ownership of Ape. Millennial Management has 5.30% ownership of Ape, and ICS Opportunities has 4.7% ownership of Ape. Not close. to 51%. It's 26% if you added up all of the largest investors in Ape. Now, I think where a lot of people are getting confused is in the SEC filing, where they say it's pursuant to basically Antara Capital voting yes on these proposals, in which Antara Capital agrees to. With a 10-for-1 reverse split, right? If Antara Capital did own, this many shares, just call it 164 million shares. If you do a split on that, and you don't split AMC, then you would have over 50% of the voting power. But that's not how it works. Ape isn't the only one that this would happen to, right? It would be AMC as well. So the percentage ownership is not going to change no matter what happens with this court situation, unless they go out and buy more stock. But right now, they only own 17.5% of Ape. Not even close to what they would need for a hostile takeover. Now, would they even want to do a hostile takeover on AMC? Probably not. Antara Capital is only in this likely to be in this arbitrage trade. That's the only reason they bought AMC or Ape. That's the only reason they're a part of this. I don't think they would even want to invest in this because, I mean, this was a risk-free trade. Now we see that it's very much not a risk-free trade for those shorts. But do they want to be invested long in this with 20% ownership? Probably not. Do they want to have the deciding factor on what AMC does and every move they make? Probably not. That just wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me, especially not an Ape, right? Why would they want to own Ape? If this court situation were to fall apart, that'd be terrible. That'd be terrible. So they would never even have the opportunity to do a hostile takeover. And by and large, I don't think they would want to attempt that. I don't really think anyone would want to attempt to do a hostile takeover regardless. The only reason they own so much is because of this deal that AMC did to cook the vote. Basically come out here and say that 87% of shareholders voted for these three proposals. No, Antara Capital and the hedge funds voted for these. Retail investors did not. And I think that's ultimately something the judge already knows about, right? Let's be honest here. The judge knows this was cooked from the start. She has the SEC filings. She knows the deal AMC made with Antara Capital. This is no shocker. So I guess I wanted to just clear the air here. I don't think it would be a bullish thing to, let me be clear. If Antara Capital did, for whatever reason, want to pursue a hostile takeover, I don't think that is bullish because they want this split to go through. They want AMC to raise a bunch of capital. They want to convert Ape into AMC. Short term would not be a positive thing. Is this going to happen? Absolutely not. I put a less than 0.1% chance on this being Antara Capital's intentions. It's not. They just want to make a trade. They want to make a couple $100 million and get out, most likely. Cover if they have any short positions or whatnot. But that's really that. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. If you learned anything at all, spread this message to as many people as possible, because this, quite frankly, is not true and not a good thing if it were to happen. And I mean, just from the numbers here, Antara Capital is far off from doing a hostile takeover, and they're not going to get any more ownership than what they currently have. I guess, in a way, if they did call on AMC to basically convert their bonds, if that was even possible, which it's not, then they would have a closer chance of doing a hostile takeover, but that's not even a possibility. So it's tough to make this argument. It's tough to make an argument that Antara Capital is doing a hostile takeover of AMC. So that is it. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you guys want to come trade this earnings season with me live every time I do make a trade, link down below in the description of this video. Never financial advice, but a good tool nonetheless to have. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.